So when you get to a place where you think you want to build, got your property all picked out, what you want to do is you want to observe the place for as long as possible. You want to not build for as long as you can hold out. You want to see it in as many different conditions as you can see it, to get clues about where to build, what to build, and what to look forward to when you're building, and what to look forward to with your building itself. Because natural conditions differ from place to place. A little bit of a weather pattern can mean all the difference in maintenance of the building over time, or how warm it's going to be, or how cold it's going to be all the time. So, for instance, if I was in the shade and I built the building right here where I'm standing in the shade, it's going to be a lot cooler most of the time than if I built the building out there in the sun where you guys are. Down here, there's a place above Gualala where I was asked to come and look and see about a building for these people. And so I went, and we were looking around their place, and there's an old hippie shack that was built in 1970 something that's still there, but it's all redwood shingle. It had redwood shingles on the side. And walking around the building, I couldn't help but notice that kind of on the west side, the shingles were a little more worn off than the rest of the building, which is strange because the weather patterns here, the big storms, come from the south, not from the west. To be sure, we get some storms from the west, but the big stompers are coming from the south. And the big stompers would do the work to those shingles that got done. It didn't make a lot of sense to me until I walked the whole site and I noticed that their place sticks way out on a point. And there's a line of trees sort of to the southeast. So the wind comes up and it hits that line of trees and it spins around. It spins that wind around from the west. It slaps the side of the building really hard. If that building had been moved 30 feet to one side, that wouldn't have happened. But if there was a cob building there, it would have torn the plasters off. And you'd be constantly replastering the thing every year or two. And that can be expensive in terms of time. So you want to see what the wind patterns are going to do. You want to check and see if there are any surprise springs that are going to pop up. You don't want a spring showing up in the middle of your house. One of the early buildings, they had that happen to them. They built in a place where there was sort of a rocky thumb, and they were pretty sure that it would be good, that the water was going to flow away in all directions. But in the wintertime, under the floor, it became a spring. And they had no way of knowing that, except for if they had looked ahead of time, the winter previously. And they tried to mitigate around the spring. They tried to build in some kind of a drainage so that it would drain out, but it kept ruining the floor. And finally, that building was completely abandoned. And it's been, subsequently, I think it's fallen down or been torn down. So knowing ahead of time would have helped a lot.